In the sun-baked valleys of southern Arizona Territory, where the mesquite trees clawed at the sky and the distant mountains shimmered like mirages, Elias Thorne scratched out a living on his modest farm. It was 1875, a time when the Apache wars simmered like a pot about to boil over, and white settlers like Elias tiptoed on the edge of oblivion. Elias was no gunslinger or prospector. He was a shy man of 32, with calloused hands from tilling soil rather than pulling triggers. He'd come west after the Civil War, fleeing the ghosts of Gettysburg where he'd lost his brother and his nerve. Now, he lived alone in a adobe cabin, tending to cornfields and a small herd of cattle, speaking more to his horse, Rusty, than to any human soul. Elias avoided the nearby town of Dust Creek like it was plagued. The saloons buzzed with rowdy cowboys, and the general store clerk always tried to draw him into gossip. "You're too quiet, Thorne," they'd say. "A man needs company." But Elias preferred the silence of the desert, where the wind whispered secrets and the coyotes howled laments. His days blurred into one another, dawn chores, midday heat, evening solitude. Little did he know, his quiet life was about to shatter like glass under a boot heel. It happened on a scorching afternoon in late summer. Elias was mending a fence along the eastern edge of his property, where his land butted up against the wild Apache reservation lands. Sweat dripped from his brow, soaking his faded blue shirt. He hammered a nail into a post, his mind wandering to the almanac's promise of rain, when a shadow fell across him. He looked up, and his hammer slipped from his grasp. She stood there like a vision from the old tales, tall, with skin the color of burnished copper, her black hair braided with feathers and beads. She wore a deerskin dress adorned with intricate quillwork, and a knife hung from her belt. Her eyes were dark and piercing, like obsidian arrows. She was Apache, no doubt, and not just any. Her bearing spoke of warrior blood. Elias froze, his heart pounding. Apaches were raiders in these parts, ghosts who struck and vanished. But this woman carried no rifle, only a woven basket slung over her shoulder. "You are the farmer they call Thorne," she said in English, her voice steady and accented, like river stones tumbling. Elias stammered, his cheeks flushing red. "Why yes, ma'am. That's me. Can I help you?" She stepped closer, her gaze unwavering. "I am Nita of the Chiricahua Apache. I have watched your land. You work hard. You are strong, though you hide it." Elias blinked, unsure if this was a dream or a threat. "Watched? Why?" Nita set her basket down, revealing fresh corn and herbs, offerings, perhaps. "My people fight the bluecoats. Many warriors die. I was wife to one, but he fell in battle. Now, I am alone. My bloodline must continue. I want an heir from you." The words hung in the air like smoke from a signal fire. Elias's mouth opened and closed like a fish on dry land. "An heir? From me? Ma'am, I think you've got the wrong man. I'm just a farmer. Shy as a prairie dog." Nita's lips curved in a faint smile, the first crack in her stoic facade. "Shy men make loyal fathers. I see you tend your fields like a mother tends a child. You do not drink or fight in town. You are pure. Give me a son, and I will give you protection from my kin. Refuse, and, well, the desert is harsh." Elias backed up a step, his mind reeling. This wasn't how courtships went in his world, awkward dances at barn raisings, maybe a stolen kiss. But Nita's proposition was bold, primal. Part of him was terrified, another part, buried deep, was intrigued. I need time to think." Nita nodded. "One moon cycle. I will return." She turned and melted into the brush like a shadow, leaving Elias staring at the empty horizon. That night, sleep evaded him. He paced his cabin, the lantern flickering. An heir? With an Apache woman? The townsfolk would string him up if they knew. Yet, Nita's eyes haunted him, fierce, yet vulnerable. He remembered his own loneliness, the empty chair at his table. By dawn, curiosity won over fear. He'd wait for her return. The days dragged on. Elias found himself glancing eastward more often, his chores done with unusual vigor. Rumors trickled in from town, Apache raids on supply wagons, soldiers marching from Fort Bowie. Tension brewed like a storm. One evening, as Elias milked his cow, riders thundered up, 3 rough men, bandanas over their faces, guns drawn. "Hand over your cattle, farmer," the leader snarled, a scar twisting his lip. "We're talking for the cause." Elias's hands shook, but he stood firm. "This is my land." "Get off." The leader laughed, cocking his pistol. Big words for a mouse. A whistle pierced the air, an arrow embedding in the leader's hat, pinning it to the barn wall. The outlaws whirled as Nita emerged from the shadows, bow in hand, another arrow knocked. "Leave," she commanded. "Or join the spirits." The men fled, tails between their legs. Elias exhaled, knees weak. "You saved me." Nita lowered her bow. "I protect what is mine. Have you thought on my words?" Elias nodded, his shyness cracking. "Why me? There are warriors in your tribe." Nita's eyes softened. "My husband was brave, but cruel. He beat me. I want a kind man for my child's father. You are kind, Thorne. I see it in how you care for your animals." They sat by his fire that night, sharing cornbread and stories. Nita spoke of her people, their dances under the stars, the sacred mountains. Elias shared his war scars, the brother he'd buried. For the first time, he didn't stammer. As the fire died, Nita leaned close. "Will you give me an heir?" Elias swallowed. "If we do this, it has to be right. Not just once. I want to know you." Nita smiled. "Then court me, farmer." What followed was a whirlwind of secret meetings. Elias learned Apache words, how to track deer. Nita taught him to ride bareback, her laughter echoing as he tumbled off. He showed her his garden, the joy of harvest. Their worlds collided, his plow meeting her arrow. But love bloomed in the cracks. Elias's shyness faded, Nita's walls crumbled. One starlit night, under a blanket of constellations, they consummated their pact. "An heir," Nita whispered, "but also a heart. Word count so far, around 800. Need to build tension." But shadows loomed. The Apache chief, Nita's uncle Victorio, disapproved of her mingling with a white man. "You betray us," he thundered when he discovered her absences. "The bluecoats kill our people, and you lie with one?" Nita stood defiant. "He is not them. He is good." Victorio banished her temporarily, forcing her to prove loyalty by scouting army movements. Meanwhile, in Dust Creek, Sheriff Harlan got wind of Elias's Apache friend. Harlan, a grizzled veteran with a grudge against natives, rallied a posse. "Thorne's consorting with the enemy. We'll burn him out." Elias heard the rumors from a sympathetic neighbor. Panic gripped him. He rode to the reservation edge, signaling Nita with a smoke fire as she'd taught. She came, belly slightly swollen, the air quickening. "They're coming for me," Elias said, voice trembling. Nita's face hardened.